The details of sports and entertainment plus business as well coming up over the next 60 minutes.
The news now in detail, and the collection of the emission tax is yet to take effect in spite of its January 1 implementation date. Judith Brown was at the Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority (DVLA) in Accra, where its digital operations have been expanded to cover additional services.
Customers of the Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority visited various offices to complete vehicle registrations as they do every year. The goal is to obtain a 2024 number plate that they believe carries prestige.
It's a matter of having a new car during the year. We are in a new year, 2024. So getting a number with 2024 number, I think, is better. You can say with it.
It just means 24 is the latest number, so everybody wants the latest. It doesn't necessarily mean latest number. Yeah, that's what I like. It looks nice.
The numbers at the 37 DVLA office appear to be lower this year compared to previous years. With the implementation of new advanced technological services, as promised, the DVLA says their work has significantly been simplified.
The issue with the manual system where you have to write or type the chassis number and the likelihood of omission of a figure was high. This time around, it's not so. And then again, you have to go and queue at the bank to make payments. This time it's not so. You can log on to ghana.gov.gh and then effect payments using that credit card, or you can even use Momo to pay.
There were, however, conflicting views on the ground.
With the old system, some of the challenges I used to experience is the duplication of numbers. I registered a car where I requested for a special number. I was told that, but then that number has somebody also using that number. So you have to come back and do something. But with this biometric and the system issuing numbers, I think that problem will be solved.
I've been here from 7 o'clock. I came to register my vehicle. They said I'm taking a special number, so they have to take my document inside. I've been here more than 4 hours. The document hasn't returned. When I asked, they said I should wait. The system. But they have to do it pilot way, maybe some few people, but you can't just put everybody into this mess.
In December last year, Parliament passed a law requiring vehicle owners to pay 100 Ghana cedis for exhaust pipe fumes. The collection of this tax at the DVLA has not yet begun. The authority is currently introducing new prefixes for various districts and newly created regions.
There has been creation of new offices, and by extension, yes, we've added some prefixes. Example, CW represents Winneba, and SCN represent Dunkwanofin, and VA represent Akachi in that order. So once you see the prefix, it depicts where or the station or the region where the vehicle was registered.
The DVLA says it is ensuring significantly improved services. The effectiveness of their New Year resolution will only be determined by time. Judith Brown, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, talk about levies and taxes kicking in January. The emission levy bill and vehicles income tax amendment bill passed by Parliament are set to kick in effective January 2024. That's this month we are in. And Yonam Haliga evaluates the impact of the new taxes on passengers and motorists.
The emissions tax will require all petrol and diesel vehicles to pay an annual 100 cedis tax on their vehicles from January this year. The emission levy bill passed by Parliament is to encourage the use of environmentally friendly energy sources for vehicle power, aligning its commitment to climate-positive actions and carbon offsets initiative. This could affect about 95% of vehicles in the country, according to the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority. In addition, the fare of your ride-hailing vehicle could increase as a result of the introduction of vehicle income tax by Ghana Revenue Authority. In a statement by GRA indicated that any commercial vehicle owner that earns an income from the operation of a commercial vehicle shall pay income tax quarterly. But how do these affect you, the consumer? If you own a car, you simply will be paying more, and if you don't, you are likely to pay more in transport fares as commercial car owners pass on the cost to passengers. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union has already threatened to increase fares by 60%, whereas ride-hailing drivers say they would pass on the extra cost to passengers. And Yonam Haliga, TV3 News, Accra.
Ashanti Regional Bureau Chief William Evans Income spent some time with a ride-hailing driver to discuss the introduction of the vehicle income tax.
Franklin is barely 2 years in the ride-hailing business. The 30-year-old opted out of the public sector and ventured into ride-hailing. Although not married, he's a breadwinner of his extended family. His choice for the ride-hailing business is partly and perhaps largely hinges on family pressure. Business was thriving when he started. However, keen competition in the transport sector has had a dwindling effect. The choice for a commercial vehicle is largely determined by the fare in a struggling economy. Online drivers pay a mandatory 25% commission of every trip made to their app operators. With the introduction of the vehicle income tax in the ride-hailing business, Franklin will draw more deductions from his trips returns.
Right now, I'm paying 25% commission, and the fare that the riders pay is not good. So when you pick a ride, a short trip, that the rider pays, let's say 15 cedis, and you are the boat company charges 25% commission on that 15 cedis. Meanwhile, you will be paying additional booking fee and tax. We already pay tax that they deducted from the monies that we collect from the riders. So I think it's going to affect us a lot.
In his view, government should withhold the vehicle income tax and open negotiation before implementation.
I think the government has to meet the union or meet the app company if they will negotiate on how the tax, or maybe they will reduce the tax, or they will engage the app company so that they also reduce the commission that we drivers pay to them.
On the streets, some commercial drivers also share similar sentiments.
Roadwork for Monday hold maybe am I so nim saade nti ade nti na mo so mba bete eto free years bete tax.
As per section 22 of regulations 2016 LI 2244, the GRA specified that any commercial vehicle owner that earns income from the operation of a commercial vehicle shall pay income tax quarterly.
Well, and away from all of these issues with the taxes and levies, and something we're going to stay the steam on in subsequently to find out how that impacts on users of vehicles and then also these ride-hailing services as well. But the Electoral Commission says it will conduct runoff elections to break ties in the election results recorded during the 2023 district level elections. This will help the Electoral Commission to determine winners in 20 electoral areas for assembly members and 41 electoral areas for unit committee members across the country. According to the Commission, the elections will take place on Tuesday, January 9, 2024, at all polling stations in the electoral areas where the ties were recorded. The election to break the ties is in accordance with the District Level Elections Regulations 2015 CI 89.
More news tonight. The new Patriotic Party has constituted an appeals committee to resolve grievances that may arise from the vetting of parliamentary aspirants and constituencies, with certain MPs scheduled between January 3 and January 5. The party will hold the primaries on January 27.
Vetting will take place for 137 designated constituencies in 15 regional capitals over 3 days. According to Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Haruna Mohammed, all aspirants are aware of the modalities and guidelines of the entire process.
The guidelines for this entire process has been put in the nomination forms, And every aspirant that has purchased the nomination form had the opportunity to read through all the guidelines. With respect to this vetting, there is very clear guidelines as to how the vetting is going to go. We have areas that we are looking out for and the kind of questions that we'll be asking them and the follow-up questions.
An appeals team has also been constituted to look into potential grievances of dissatisfied aspirants.
We have made provision for appeals where candidates are not satisfied with decisions of vetting committees can appeal to the appeals committee. And this appeals committee is headed by Honorable Osei Prempe, who is the chairman. We have the Director of Elections, Evans Nimaku, as the secretary to the appeals committee. We have Honorable Opariansa, we have Honorable Madam Esther Ofori, we have R.O. Solomon, we have Professor Emmanuel Flolo, we have Dr. Clifford Brimer, we also have Honorable Eugenia Gifty Kusi, Dr. Ajiman Budu, and Alhaji Amadou Kalim. Everybody knows him as Ama Business. So these are members that have been put into the appeals committee.
Well, 2024, like every other election, will not be short of political activity. Here are some of the forward to on the political calendar.
January begins on a hot note with the MPP seeking to complete the election of its parliamentary aspirants across the country in constituencies where it has seats on January 27th. Elections in Sunyani East and Fomena are still on hold. In February, the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, is expected to name his running mate for the upcoming election. Will it be a matter of continuity or change? The MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, has been given an extension of time by the MPP National Council in selecting a running mate, but sources say he will name his running mate by the end of the first quarter. The Electoral Commission will roll out its calendar later in the year. This will detail the time period for nomination, filing and authentication of parliamentary and presidential aspirants. There shall be voters' registration and exhibition exercises as well. The question about the proposal for the Ghana card to be the sole document for registration still lingers. With the NDC returning to the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC, a lot is to be expected on that front.
In more news tonight, government plans to construct 38-kilometer outer ring road via the Tano River to alleviate traffic congestion in Techiman and prevent accidents involving heavy-duty vehicles heading to and from the northern part of the country. Komla Kluche reports.
In the last half of 2023, the National Road Safety Authority in the Bono East region recorded over 200 road accident cases, primarily in Techiman. The incidents involved commercial vehicles, privately owned cars, and motorbikes with pedestrian knockdowns. These figures have increased over the period, and the Urban Roads Department is concerned as Techiman is a transit town with heavy-duty vehicular movement. In March 2023, a head-on collision involving two heavy-duty vehicles occurred near Techiman, resulting in several injuries. Roads and Highways Minister Kwesiamu Akwata urged Parliament to find a permanent solution to the road carnage in the Techiman municipality.
So on the floor of Parliament, I queried the Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesiamu Akwata, on whether or not, when that facility was going to come. The answer was that the ministry was just about completing its final work, the drawings and maybe the quantities. So we would know this. But it's a 38-kilometer stretch. Yes, that we know. And it's going to be very big. Like I said, from the tunnel stretch, it goes around the town. And then you end. The heavy trucks which ply Ghana, Burkina Faso, and also the amount of traffic that it collects or gathers in town. I know the Ministry of Roads and Highways is also doing a railway diversion around Techiman to link to the north. Really? Yes, railways. Yes, it's stretching from, I think, Sunyani through Techiman, Wenchi, and then off. So various houses or communities which are in its way are being engaged.
A downpour in Techiman caused 2 communities to be cut off, leading to pregnant woman dying as the river overflowed its bank, causing widespread disruption.
I recall I went to central government and I begged literally to have that bridge fixed, and they were kind to respond to me. That came with 2 other bridges. Another one that links Aboso to the Rioso area, equally same. I mean, people have died at that spot. There are areas where huge volumes of water passes between 2 communities. So, right. So any slip, you are gone. And people have died at that spot as well.
Anxious residents are heaving a sigh of relief with the major facelift of a multi-purpose bridge following persistent calls for government's assistance. The construction of the bypass will reduce the need for heavy-duty vehicles to drive through the Techiman township, thereby reducing pedestrian risk.
Everybody talks about losing staff on the nursing front. I mean, the medical front, essentially, doctors, nurses leaving the country to seek greener pastures. But there is a crisis slowly building up in the education sector. At least 8 out of 10 trained teachers would leave the shores of this country and render their services abroad, giving the opportunity. Now, for most of these teachers, the poor conditions of work and the disrespect for the teaching profession in Ghana leaves them with no option but to move to developed countries for better remuneration. Ibrahim Abubakar has been assessing the impact of the mass exodus of teachers from Ghana.
As of October 2023, as many as 10,000 teachers in the country had left to teach in developed countries. This figure, disclosed by the National Teaching Council, may even be more.
The mass exodus of our teachers outside the country has not been captured as it is now. The number is increasing by the day. As at October, we know of 10,000 that are left. That is accounted for. And for those who did not pass through our borders, we could hardly put a figure on. So after October, those who have left, we cannot account them for.
But for financial constraints, Abubakar Bansi would have joined his colleagues who recently traveled to the United Kingdom to render their teaching services. The father of 3 has been in the teaching profession for more than 2 decades and currently teaches at the Armed Forces Senior High Technical in Kumasi.
There's reason we are many. So if you are many people are going, what's the worry? As I'm standing now, because of money, I would have gone. Because if I should go, the education of my children, I can cater for my children. I have to eat a better medicine. Now, if a stranger come to my, in fact, common food, I'm afraid. I'm praying that he should go LSL because the condition of life is not easy.
A few weeks after writing her licentiate exams, Priscilla went for a recommendation letter to aid in a process of traveling abroad. The 25-year-old is of the view that the teaching profession is not respected in Ghana.
In our country, Ghana, they devalue teachers. When I travel to other countries, though, they put value on teachers, so they will increase my salary. So why should I stay in Ghana? I have to leave the country for a better place.
Although Ghana is battling with a teacher shortage, most trained teachers are planning to travel abroad in search of better conditions of service. Firdaus is in her 2nd year as a teacher trainee, but has already made up her mind to leave the country after she graduates. To her, the condition of service for the Ghanaian teacher is not encouraging and enticing enough.
If I have any chance, then I'm going. There are lots of students in Ghana, a lot of students. Some are even completing without getting jobs. So me leaving is not going to make anything fall short. There are lots of students.
The high attrition rate in the education sector poses a threat to the future of the nation's education and development.
You have very qualified teachers who are leaving the shores. You have teachers over the time who have been at the grassroots have come to understand the nuances, apart from the academic work, the morality of our students today, what we need to impact, what measures to use to curb certain behaviors. Now, it is the bulk of these teachers that are leaving the shores of the country. And when that happens, education tends to suffer. The conditions are not just favorable, and the teacher today is worse off than before.
At a recent graduation ceremony at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II also raised concern over the mass exodus of professionals from Ghana.
It is without a doubt a disheartening spectacle to bear witness to a substantial exodus of our health professionals, teachers, and graduates, all departing our shores in pursuit of more promising opportunities abroad. While it is important to acknowledge that human migration is not inherently negative, it is equally crucial to recognize that if this phenomenon remains unchecked, it poses a huge threat to the future of our nation. We must collectively work to transform our country into an enticing and compelling destination for our youth, a place where they have unshaken faith in their capacity to thrive and succeed.
For those in the education sector, until the government puts in the right measures and improve the condition of services of teachers, more and more will continue to ditch the country and render their services abroad, given the opportunity. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3, Ashanti region.
And this situation is not peculiar to just the Ashanti region. We understand it's a nationwide situation where we have a lot of the teachers leaving the country. But let's speak to Dr. Peter Partan, Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. IFES have been doing quite some work on this. Dr. Anti, thank you for joining us here on News 360. Now, from where you sit and the work you've done in this regard, how serious is this situation of the exodus of teachers from this country?
Good evening and Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you and your viewers. This is a very serious issue that, unfortunately, our leaders are not paying particular attention to. As alluded by the Asantehene, you see rightly that a lot of our teachers are leaving the shores of the country. I might say that it is normal for people to look for greener pastures as they progress in their lives. So migration of teachers or teacher attrition is something that has been with us for a long period of time. But what is happening in recent times is very, very, very peculiar. It's different from the normal migration that we used to know or the normal teacher attrition that we used to know. Normally people leave the teaching field and then they enter into other professions within the confines of the country. However, in recent years, as been indicated by the NTC, a lot of these teachers, as a result of the licensure process that have been put in place, are getting more lucrative opportunities outside the country. And the NTC put the figure at 16,000, and 10,000 of them were successful. In fact, between 2019 and then 2021, it was reported by Honorable Clement Park and then corrected by the Ministry of Education that 34,000 teachers left the teaching profession. So you will see, you agree with me that this is a very serious issue because this leads to the shortage of teachers that is imminent or definitely going to happen. At the same time, it also leads to brings to question the efficacy of the policies that are being implemented in the education sector, because the teacher is at the middle of all this. And if the teachers are leaving and we don't have a clear way of dealing or tackling with this issue, then it means that we are heading for a dangerous situation ahead of us.
I see, but that's where the concern is about the policy response, right? Because you talk about the disconnect in here. So if there has to be an adequate, urgent response to this situation, what should it be?
I think first and foremost, our leaders, those in charge of the education system should understand and agree with us that this is a problem. You see, Alfred, we are introducing the quota system at the College of Education. Now, we are paying them allowances. That money could could be used to build infrastructure there, but we are paying them. So these are investments. At the same time, we are restricting the number of people who are entering the teaching profession. I tell you, within the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to have a serious crisis in the teacher front, because most of these people are leaving, and then our policies are being designed in such a way that we are not training more teachers. Unfortunately, the Minister of Education didn't see it that way. So the last time he spoke about this, he said that we are not likely to face teacher shortages because there are a lot of teachers that we have trained. But if you look at how we are going about this, a lot of teachers are leaving. We are introducing the quota system. We are not training more teachers. And those on the field are not satisfied, and they will leave with a little opportunity that is available. Within the next 4 or 5 years, if nothing substantial is done in terms of policy-wise, a conversation about the teachers' motivation, the teachers' well-being, the teachers' total well-being is not held, and steps are not taken to deal with this. I'm telling you that within the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to have a crisis in the education sector in terms of our teacher supply system.
Well, that's worrying, to say the least. But, Dr. Anti, appreciate your time and the reality check that you bring to this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Peter Partan, Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies there.
Still on education, several schools have observed diverse reporting patterns among students during the current academic year, presenting a unique twist to the academic calendar. Some first-year senior high school students began their academic year in December 2023, while others, influenced by parents, delayed reporting until January 2024.
The unprecedented flexibility in reopening and reporting dates has been attributed to a range of factors, including the complications in the computerized school placement system and the country's economic challenges. As schools resume, parents face the challenge of balancing school preparations and year-end festivities. Some parents express frustration over high prices of goods on the market and the timing of reopening of schools.
We should have
been given a maximum period to prepare adequately. I have 3 children who are all going to school on the exact date. It's difficult for me because my child came home about 2 weeks ago and they are going back again. I have not been able to purchase her books even though they are reopening tomorrow.
Chop balls and trunk dealers at Timber Market at Adidengbo in Accra also complained about low patronage.
But because of Brunyano, slow down.
The market was good from the beginning, but it has slowed down because of the end of year festivities.
Parents need customers, no, Emma.
Patronage is very low as compared to December. It's not like as compared to December. I'm very much rush for it, but now they are buying it 1-1.
Parents are eagerly purchasing school items for their children despite facing challenges, as they believe they have no other option.
So live here on News 360, we're live from our news hub here at Desawe Kanda. We're back after this quick break with business with Michael Obodu. Stay with us. Well, we had some reduction in fuel prices in December going into the Christmas.
True.
And how's it looking like, the forecast for the year?
Well, IES seems to have a very positive, optimistic outlook. They are predicting prices will drop this month, and then also towards the year, relative stability.
That's some good news. That's all things being equal.
All things being equal.
Hopefully, no disruptions. But anyway, yeah.
Hello there. Good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, the Institute for Energy Security, IES, anticipates a generally stable outlook for petroleum prices in the country this year. Notably, the Institute foresees a slight decrease in the price of all petroleum products on the domestic market during January's initial pricing window.
Following a marginal decline in pump prices during December 2023's second pricing window,
The IES expects a continuation of this downward trend in the current month.
For performance of petroleum products on the international market, you would see that there has been some consistent or continuous decline when it comes to refined petroleum product prices. I take you to the world fuels market, where we did observe that in the past 2 weeks, the price of gasoline had gone down by some 1.76%. Gas oil did some 3.44%. LPG did some 0.14%. This followed last window's decline.
While investigations at major oil marketing companies like Goil, Shell and Total haven't shown any reductions yet, Star Oil took the initiative yesterday by announcing price cuts of approximately 45 pesos for petrol and 1 cedi 45 pesos for diesel. However, the institute remains cautious in its optimism, acknowledging that the local currency's depreciation might offset the impact of the global price reduction on local pump prices. Despite this concern, the IES holds a positive outlook for petroleum prices in Ghana throughout the year, contingent upon the commencement of operations at the Central Oil Refinery.
The pressure on the cedi will go down in terms of fuel importation. Also, then that means that transactions involving Central would likely be in Ghana cedi because the company is based in Ghana. If that should happen, then we are likely to see some relative stability and decline because the dollar component of the computation is relatively going to come down significantly. And so on the domestic market, if Centrio's production should come on stream, coupled with the depreciation of the cedi being slowed down, I am looking at the first quarter of the year to be relatively stable and on the downward trend.
The public will be very keen about how the cost of fuel pans out this year, especially because of how it impacts on the cost of living and how it influences key economic indicators like inflation. Michael Obodu, 3 Business, Accra. Now, President of the Ghana Insurers Association, Seth Aklesi, has justified his outfit's resolve to adjust motor tariffs for 2024 upwards. The association sought approval from the regulator, the National Insurance Commission, on a minimum tariff for third-party motor insurance, which took effect yesterday, January 1. Speaking to 3 Business, Seth Aklesi cited recent economic challenges, particularly depreciation of the local currency over time, for the new rates.
We are all very much aware of the macroeconomic conditions that have been persisting for the past couple of years. If you look at 2023, we've gotten inflation go up as much as up to like 54% before coming down reasonably. The cedi had depreciated by close to 22%. And every price in this country, from data to transportation to everything, has increased. The cost implications for businesses is something that everybody is aware of. And for that matter, for insurance companies, we thought it's now a good time to slightly revise our premiums. If you look at the increment based on what we were paying in 2023 and now, it's just on the average of close to 10%. It is actually not even up to 10%, depending on the year of registration on your vehicle and what you might have been paying previously.
Energy strategist at Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, is calling for either a review or the complete scrapping of the Gold for Oil program introduced by the government to curb rising fuel prices at the pumps. In his view, the program has not only fallen short of its intended objective, but its continuation in its current form risks imposing greater cost on the nation rather than any potential benefits.
We haven't seen Gold for Oil impacting the pump prices as we wanted, or as we had anticipated, or as we were made to believe. We haven't seen that. If we actually practice it well, the component that it can handle will be the stability of the cedi. And indeed, if we can actually stabilize the cedi, yes, it will have impact on pump prices. But has it even be able to, do we have that much stability? We only have minimal depreciation, but not appreciation of the currency that we have. No, we haven't had that. So I think the benefits are minimal as compared to the potential cost. So if you weigh the cost, if you do cost benefit analysis, I believe either we have to review it or we should cancel it altogether.
That'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next, the sports.
Yeah, we'll pursue Levys here with the latest on the world of sports and more info on Team Ghana.
On Team Ghana, yeah. I mean, the team have arrived in Kumasi.
Okay.
Has Kudus arrived?
He'll arrive tonight.
All right.
Tonight? Yeah, tonight.
All right.
Enjoying the team.
So I read that he had been injured.
No, it was just a minor injury. But he'll arrive tonight.
No skirmishes?
No, nothing at all. Nothing like that. Don't worry about it. Let's get into the sports news this evening here on News 360. And the Black Stars arrived in Kumasi and they will begin their training at the Babaya Stadium later tomorrow. Now, it is expected that they will have 2 training sessions, one in the morning and later in the evening. 18 players led by Captain Andre Ayew are currently in the team's camp. Jordan Ayew, Kudus Mohammed and Inyake Williams plus 7 other players are expected to join the team later tomorrow. Now, the team will be in Kumasi until the 10th of January. The team will train behind closed doors as the coach wants a serene environment. The Black Stars are in Group B with Cape Verde, Egypt and Mozambique. We're still staying with the Black Stars there. Ghana coach Chris Hughton has said that changing the team's training camp from South Africa to Kumasi will not hurt the team in any way. He believes that the crowd in Kumasi, as well as the fans who have always supported the Black Stars, will give the team the energy heading into the AFCON.
In any preparation or any schedule, there sometimes can be changes. And what we have to do always as a technical staff and an organisation is to embrace those changes and adapt accordingly. So that we will do. We will make sure that this is a good camp where we can create a spirit that we can do all the work that is necessary for us to do during a camp period. We will play a very good fixture here in Kumasi, where we will allow the supporters to watch the game. Sometimes a team during this period of time will want a game behind closed doors. What we saw this was an opportunity to open the doors for our supporters to, in effect, their farewell to us before we go to AFCON 23.